Alright, welcome everyone. I thought I'd give you a quick tutorial on how to build your three-dimensional packaging mock-up. I'm in Illustrator right now, and you can see we started with the template, and I've redrawn that. This is the artwork that is on the template. This is Lynn Peterson's, a former student. She let me use her wonderfully designed cake packaging box. So once you have this done in Illustrator, all you need to do is hop over to Photoshop, and you can see in Photoshop I have taken a photograph of my box just sitting on my desk, and you want to have kind of a front 3/4 view of your box so you can see three sides, the side here, the top, and mostly the front is what you want. So I am going to open that Illustrator file that I just had open in Illustrator, and I'm going to keep the high resolution 300 pixels per inch. It's an 11 by 17 inch file, so I'm just going to open this. RGB is okay because I'm going to do my mock-up. Photo is in RGB as well. So once I have this here, it's pretty simple. I'm going to zoom in and go to my selection tool, or M, and you want to make sure you don't get the fold lines. So I'm going to go just inside of those, and we'll start with the front because that is kind of the main emphasis. So I'll grab this, simply hit Command C to copy, go over here, Command V to paste, and going to go to my selection tool up here. I typed V, and this is on its own layer. So really all I need to do is align this to one of the corners. I'll start with a corner up here, Command T. I'll get my bounding box with my handles, and then to move one corner at a time, all I have to do is hover over until I get that double arrow and hold down your Command key. And notice it turns it into a direct select, and now I can just move one corner. So I'm going to move this corner up here, move this over here. You can see how it flexes it in perspective. It's a pretty cool tool. And I'll line up all of these corners. You can zoom in with your bounding box to get a really precise look at these edges. All right, I think I'm happy with that. So I will type return, and return will place that, the front. So I'm going to label this front, and we'll leave that. That is now on its own layer. Okay, we'll go back to our cake box, and Command D to release that selection. Go back to M, to your marquee tool, and I'm going to take the side here and select that right inside of my fold lines. Command C to copy, hop over here, Command V to paste, Command T to get the transform box up. Now what I want to do here is I'm going to put these just kind of close to where I want them, and because I want my front to line up perfectly with my side, I'm really going to zoom in here, and this is where it's helpful to have all of that resolution. I'm going to overlap it just a little bit, make sure that that lines up there. Then we'll come down here. Remember, I'm holding my Command key down and moving just one at a time, one corner at a time. That looks like it lines up. And then this one, I have to zoom out a little bit to see. Looks like that was a little bent, that packaging. A We'll get it about right where we want it. And then lastly, the top corner here. All right, that looks good. Type a return. Now when I go in here, you'll see that that lines up pretty well. There's some artifacts in there. Let's not worry about them right now. Some of them are just from the front packaging. If I need to, I can always nudge that over just a little bit with my arrow keys, and it'll still stay lined up. Okay, then the last thing we'll do is we'll go back to our template, and I'm going to grab the top of this. Now we are doing a mock-up, so I won't put this angle in there. I'm just going to go inside of my die line and grab a rectangular shape. That will be good enough to show the client here, which will be me. So I'm going to copy this, bounce over here, Command V to paste, Command T to transform. This one is really skewed, so what I might do is start pretty close to the top with this one right here, and then really skew these down. But it does a nice job kind of bending it and skewing it. So I'm going to go in here, put this one over top of both of those, line this one up, it looks a little jagged when you're in preview mode. That'll go away like it did over here. And then this one, might need to zoom out a little bit for that one. The box is kind of bent on the top up here, but I think that's okay. I might even just take a little artistic liberty, pull this one down so I take part of that box off at the same time, but still keep my perspective lines here going back to their vanishing points. And type a return. And that looks nice and clean there. Okay, so now I can hide this in the background, the original photo, and I can put a colored background in there. I chose this one earlier because it kind of matched the teal in here. I chose a teal, and this made it a little bit lighter. And then using a layer effect, I put a drop shadow on here. And oops, I put it behind my background. Just a little bit of a drop shadow there. You can reduce the opacity in that if you want. Might even nudge it over just a little bit. You can adjust that just a little bit. So it gives it something to sit on. The other thing I might suggest you do is if I select this side layer, we'll label that side. We have front, and this is the top. What I might do to give it a little bit of depth on the side here is just choose the side. I'm going to hold down my Command key and holding it over the icon on the layer. Click on there, the image, so I have a selection. Make a new layer. We'll just name this Side Shadow. And I'm going to fill that with black. So it's a solid black side shadow on here. And then all I will do is reduce the opacity. Take my selection away. Reduce the opacity. And I can darken that side just a little bit. Maybe we'll try like 39 here or so. That gives it just a little bit of depth. See, without it and with it. The top would actually be lighter if the light was coming from the top. So I'm just going to leave that because this design does a nice job of separating the top and the side. So that's it. That's how I would prepare and create, or prepare for and create your 3D box packaging. Shoot the photo yourself. Your camera on your phone is probably going to do just fine. If you have a higher end camera, use that too. But notice that I kept the truer perspective in here, where you have technically a 3-point perspective where you have vanishing points here and here, and then a third going way down to the bottom, so that none of these sides are level. They all use the true perspective, and I think that looks a little more realistic. The nice thing about this too is placing your images on here in Photoshop from your Illustrator file is you have first generation color, and your color won't change, as opposed to sometimes designers might print this out and then mock it up as a mock-up and then photograph that. You really have second and third generation color there, because you print it out, that's second generation color. You make the mock-up and photograph it to get it back in the computer, that's third generation color. So this is 100% accurate to what you want directly from the computer because it never left the computer. All right, so that's it. This is what you'll be uploading to Blackboard. To save this as a PDF, you can just go to Save As. You could, I would just do Save As. And go to my computer. And under here, I should be able to choose my PDF, Photoshop PDF right here. And this will make the file a little bit smaller, so when you upload it to Blackboard, it doesn't take up quite as much space. And that Photoshop PDF will be what you send to me. Okay, if you have any trouble with that, you could always just take a screen capture of this, Command-Shift-4, and drag around this right inside of Photoshop. It'll create a ping, put it on your desktop on a Mac, and you can upload that as well. The resolution won't quite be so high, but I'll still be able to grade it from that. But I'd prefer the higher res Photoshop PDF, okay? I guess I'd be okay too if you wanted to, just trying to be flexible here. If you wanted to save this as a JPEG, just make sure you save it on high or maximum quality, and you can upload a JPEG as well. All right, thank you.